Hello, chess friends, and welcome to your of Chess channel, and welcome back to the Norway Chess tournament in 2024. Today, I've decided to show really a brilliant game from the round 5 of this amazing chess event. So, in this round 5, we had an amazing game between the world champion Ding Liren and one of the leaders of the event, Hikaru Nakamura, in a crazy Gusev Countergambit of the Austrian defense. And again, Hikaru dared to play the Austrian defense. The Austrian defense, I think, is a risky choice against D4, but it's not one of the first times that Hikaru is playing this opening. Actually, he dared to play also the Austrian defense against Ramesh Babu Praggnanandhaa in the candidates in 2024, and we have to mention Hikaru won the game with the black pieces against Prague, which was really surprise weapon by Hikaru. Again, also in this game, he'll dare to play the Austrian defense, but with a little bit different mover with the so-called Gusev Countergambit. Really a sharp line. So let's see now what happened. In my opinion, really one of the most beautiful games from this event for sure. So with the white pieces here, Ding opened with the move d4, d5 by Hikaru, c4 the queen's gambit, and now we have the Austrian defense with the move c5. And I've created several studies about the Austrian defense from white's perspective. If you are bothered maybe by these lines, check out really my preparation. Here's the link of our playlist. Maybe you can have, I think, a great setup against these types of positions. So of course, when we have dynamics in the center of the board, we want to release the pressure here. So c takes d5, and now after move knight to f6, which becomes now the so-called Gusev counter gambit. Here I think Ding plays a too equalish line. He plays now the move knight to c3. It's perfectly fine. It's not like white is losing the game, but I wanted to show really my home preparation, how you could beat maybe this Gusev counter gambit with a very aggressive e4. You're sacrificing the pawn, and that was also part of this part of my study about the Austrian defense. So as I said, here's the link. Check it out. Maybe, as I said, you're bothered by these lines. After move knight to e4, you can play now d takes c5. After knight to c5, I've come to the conclusion that this should be really a beautiful continuation here for white. Bishop to e3 would be even a theoretical novelty, a move that has never been played so far in top GM, EM, FM level. So bishop to e3 attacks immediately knight and forces basically here the move e6. But now you continue with knight to c3, and for instance, if e takes d5 happens, then you have this one, queen to d5, queen to d5, knight to d5. Black is forced to play now a passive move with the knight, and I think this should be a solid position for white. You're controlling the b4 square, you're not allowing bishop to b4, you play normal development, and black cannot move the knight so far because the c7 would be weak. So here from knight to c3, for instance, a mistake that black could make is bishop to e7. Maybe black wants to castle, but then you have this resource. Look at this, bishop to b5, bishop to d7. Now you take out the knight, and now you pick up the pawn. For instance, after something like f takes e6, you have even this resource, queen to h5, hitting the bishop and the king, and the game is over. So after f takes e6, pardon me, d takes e6, of course black has to continue with bishop to b5, but now you can also first play the check, get another pawn, get of course here the bishop, and this is a beautiful now position for white. So as I said, here instead of this move knight to c3, in my opinion this e4 is really brilliant, but now after knight to e4 you take, and then bishop to e3 would be really good option. But okay, that was a little bit theory if you're, as I said, bothered by the Austrian defense with the white pieces. So here after move knight to c3 that Ding played, Hikaru continues with knight to d5, knight to f3, c takes d, queen takes d, and now after knight to c3, queen to c3, we have now knight to c6 by Hikaru. He's preparing e4 and bishop to b4. The queen is a little bit exposed, but we have to say it, white in this Austrian defense didn't gain so much, but has always an extra tempo, sort of, because white's queen is out, black's queen is still on the starting square, so it's always like white has an extra piece that's playing so far in the early stage of the game. So here comes this idea by after move e4 by Ding, we have a6 by Hikaru, we have bishop to e2, e5 by Hikaru, preparing now bishop to b4 to trap the queen. We have a3, Ding prevents that, and now after move bishop to g4, again we have a theoretical novelty here by Hikaru in chess history. Bishop to d6 has been played in one game. After bishop to g4 hitting the knight, we have now kingside castling, rook to c8 here by Hikaru Nakamura, and now Ding Liren already doesn't react correctly. He plays now a very passive move queen to b3, which allows here Hikaru Nakamura to get an extra tempo with the knight against the queen. A better choice is to go into really crazy and wild line with bishop to c4. Look how crazy the position becomes after something like knight to d4. Black is of course threatening the move b5. Now you play simply knight to e5. You allow here even the move knight to e2 fork. Of course you cannot take because of the rook's activity, but you have this one. After knight to c3, bishop takes f7 actually is getting the queen black with bishop to g5. This is really something that Ding missed here. Of course no one can play chess like this, but I wanted to show you how the Stockfish engine, for instance, evaluates this position. Look, bishop to g5, king to d6. Now you play knight to c4, rook to c4. Now you pick up the queen. Two pieces are hanging here. Black is forced now to play bishop to e6, takes, and now also after this one, and maybe rook to c3. Again, I think white should be slightly better because of this two pawns that are marching here on the king side. So very interesting line here for Ding. So as I said, bishop to c4, sort of a must move here for Ding Liren. But he played queen to b3, allowed here, as I said, Hikaru Nakamura to get an extra tempo. The queen drops back here to a4, b5, again a new tempo. And you see, because Ding missed the move bishop to c4, here Hikaru gets even a better position with the black pieces. Not only equality here, I would say here black is always better because of the better piece activity. So Ding missed this opening theory here after queen to d1, rook to d1. Look at this, knight to b3, fork against the bishop and the rook. As I said, black is here slightly better for sure. So rook to b1, bishop to c5. Look at this, black's pieces are now playing in perfect harmony. I'm not saying, of course, this is the most spectacular position for black, but getting such a position against the world champion with the black pieces is, of course, really epic. So from this point on, the game becomes, I think, simply one-way ticket in black's favor. King to f1, Ding is getting the king closer, f6. Hikaru fixes now the structure in the center. Rook to d3. We have bishop to e6, knight to d2, trying, of course, to put more pressure against the knight. And now knight to d4. Good move here by Hikaru Nakamura. This knight is not going anywhere. Look at this bishop is blocked out. The Ding lost also the battle on the c file. Really a bad position for white. b4, kicking with the bishop to b6, bishop to b2, and now knight takes e2, king takes e2, and now king to e7. Hikaru Nakamura gets, of course, now his rooks connected. Really a beautiful position. We have f3, we have rook to c2 by Hikaru Nakamura. Good move, I would say. For instance, the engine doesn't like this move. g5 is the suggested move, but whenever you can occupy the second rank, I think you should do it. Here Hikaru really takes over in the position. We have a rook to c3, a bishop to c4. Black simply continues now the attacking flow. Really great position by Hikaru. You cannot take, of course, by the rook because of the rook activity against the king. We have king to e1, we have bishop to f2, and now I think maybe if white plays now the game correctly, if white plays now the perfect moves, this could maybe be saved. But here Ding Liren makes the first really important mistake. He plays now the move king to d1. A better choice was simply to play king to f2, and after something like a rook to d2. Okay, again, black is much better, but these are opposite bishops. You can, of course, get to your king somewhere here. You can corner your king, and I think you could maybe survive this position. But okay, king to d1 allows here Hikaru Nakamura to trade off the rooks and include now this other rook into the game. You cannot take again the bishop. You will love, of course, to get rid of this powerful bishop on c4, but the rook activity is, of course, not allowing that. We have rook to a1, bishop to f1, and now after move g3, look at this here. Ding Liren gets really challenged. Hikaru Nakamura simply attacks now the rook, and now plays another important move, rook to d3. Play simply on this best activity idea, placing the pieces where they're supposed to be. Rook to d3, really good choice. Again, forcing a reaction by white, and now h5, putting more pressure here against white here on the king side. So we have king to c2, bishop takes d2, bishop takes d2, and now a rook to f3. You see white's pawns got a little bit exposed. Okay, again, here white is only down a pawn, but still I would say this is a winning position for for black, because again of the better activity here of blacks on the king side. G5 h4 could be played. The king is getting closer and closer to the action, so beautiful position here for Hikaru. Rook to e1, bishop to c6, we have a rook to e3, and now rook to f2, attacking now the back rank. Liren is exposing again his pawns. He has to again create a new weak pawn here on g3. Bishop to a4 by Hikaru, check, and now again getting the king closer to the action. Good move again. King to e6, rook to e1, getting behind this pawn, rook to e3. Ding is always stuck to the defense of the pawn on g3, and now Hikaru plays calm move g6, bishop to e1, bishop to b5, king to b3, and again getting the bishop on the optimal square, trying of course get it here on g4. We have bishop to c3, rook to f2, king to c2, bishop to g4 comes with the check. You have to cover, and now again bishop to e2, bishop to c3, bishop to f3, king to d3, and now bishop to g2. Not of course easy to play now also for Hikaru. Hikaru has to find the optimal moves in order to win this endgame. We have a rook to e1, and now finally g5, trying of course somehow to create the passer here on the h file. We have bishop to d2, g takes h4, g takes h4, bishop to f1, hitting the king, and now this is, I think, the last crucial mistake here by Dingler, and he played now king to c3. He gets simply the king too far away from the action. Better choice is simply to play rook to e3. Still, of course, black is better. Rook to f4. You have to play something like this. Then we cover. I don't know, bishop to e1. Maybe you can hold this position, but in my opinion, still, of course, a perfect game here for black. But after king to c3, as I said, your king is simply too far away from the action. And now after bishop to e2, bishop to e3, rook to h2, bishop to c5, and bishop to b5, in this particular position, Liren resigned. There's simply no good way anymore to defend this pawn. If this pawn is taking, this is simply too much material. The pawn is marching, will eventually be supported by the bishop. The king is close enough, as we said, and game over here for white. So really shocking opening theory by Hikaru Nakamura. Austrian defense, it seems to work for him. He, as I said, won now 2 games with the black pieces in top GM elite level. Won the games against Liren and Praggnanandhaa in the Austrian defense. Really crazy stuff. This could be really useful, of course, also for someone else, because this Austrian defense is not so often played. There are not so many games in the database, so if you're a fan of positions like this, maybe you can check it out. But as I said, there are also good options for white, so you can also check out, as I mentioned, my studies how to beat the Austrian defense with the white pieces. Maybe there's something for you. So okay, I hope that you enjoyed this game. I really enjoyed it a lot. Interesting ideas of this rare opening for sure. If you want to see some other games that we have covered here on my YouTube chess channel from this amazing Norway chess tournament, check out our coverage. Here are some links of some games that we have analyzed before. And if you like this content, hit the subscribe button. See you soon with some more videos, and what do we say in the end? Chess is the best.